Hello YouTube, welcome to a brand new video. On today's video I'm going to show you guys how I created this image from this image. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. So first, what I'm going to do is we are going to duplicate our original image by pressing Command or Control J, and then we make selection of our subject by going to object selection, and then we hit on select subject. So Photoshop will try its best to create this subject for us, even though not necessarily it's going to do it 100% right, but at least it will reduce the stress for us. So here we are. Here's our selection. So what we are going to do now is we are going to fix and perfect the selection. Let's use our lasso tool, and then we hit on minus and remove the unwanted areas that Photoshop added to our selection, as you can see. Yes, and then where else? This area is not that necessary. So not necessarily the selection must be perfect, because we are going to smooth the background and fill the negative space on the image. So let's add this area as well, and then this area below her, as you can see. So let's zoom out one more time. Alright, so what we are going to do is we are going to make sure we are selecting the layer that we duplicated here, and then we add layer mask to the layer, and then we rename the layer to as our subject, as you can see. So what we are going to do is we are going to bring back the selection we have made. We are going to go back to our layer mask here that we created, and then we press and hold command, and then we click on the layer. Notice our selection is back, and then we disable the subject layer. We select the background layer, and then we go to our select, we go to modify, and then we hit on expand. So here we can just add 5. So it's going to expand our selection. I think it's little. Let's add a bit more of the expansion. Let's go back to the select, modify, and then expand. So this time around let's add 10. All right, I think this is good. And then we go to edit, fill, and then we make sure we are on content aware, and then we hit OK. All right, here we are. So the next thing we're going to do, as you can see, we eliminate the subject from the background, and don't mind how the background is looking. So what we are going to do next is we are going to deselect by pressing Command or Control D, and then we zoom out a bit more, and then we bring back our subject layer here, and then I think it's time for us to crop our image to 4:5 aspect ratio. So what we're going to do is going to expand, as you can see. Let's expand this side a bit more. All right, I think this is okay. Let's shift up a bit, and then we hit OK. So after cropping our image, let's also disable our subject layer one more time. So what we are going to do is we are going to fill all these negative space that are not our background. So let's make selection on the negative space we are seeing. All right, after selecting, let's also deselect this area. Like we're adding too much from the background. So what I'm going to do is we're also going to go to edit, and then fill, and then we also do content aware to the negative space. All right, here we are. As you can see, we fill the negative space. Let's press Command or Control D to deselect, and then we check back our subject layer, but notice there is kind of imperfection. Let's use our patch tool and get rid of that. All right, I think this is nice, but we can fill this dirty and the rest of the imperfection by just duplicating our background layer here, and then we go to filter, blur, and then we add Gaussian blur. But before we do that, let's change our layer to smart object, so that whenever we add something to it like the Gaussian blur, we can come back and adjust if needs be. So here we are converting our background layer to smart object. Alright, so what we are going to do is we are going to go to filter, blur, and then we hit on Gaussian blur. So here we are going to increase the radius of the Gaussian blur until we are not seeing the imperfection on the background, as you can see. So something like this is fine. You just have to push until we are satisfied with the blurry. So I think this is nice. Let's click OK and see what we have gotten so far. So let's check on before, after, before, and after. As you can see, we have smoothing the background. So after we smooth our background, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add a sky background overlay. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to our overlay here and drag it inside of our Photoshop. So let's open back our Photoshop. So what we're going to do now is we are going to scale the background until it fits exactly how you want it to appear on our image. So let's scale it up a bit more. Alright, I think this is okay for me, but notice we are having hard edge of the sky layer just behind our subject layer. So what we are going to do is we are going to hide this hard edging by adding layer mask to the sky layer. So we are going to make sure we are selecting the sky layer, and then we add layer mask. Then you move over and select our gradient, and we make sure we are selecting under our basic, we are selecting from color to transparent. So what we are going to also make sure is the foreground of our normal brush should be black. As you can see, if I toggle to white, it will change to white. If I toggle to black, the gradient will be from black to transparent. And then I would slightly drag from the bottom to the top just to erase the hard edges. As you can see, I'm getting rid of it. Alright, this is nice. As you can see, you have getting rid of it. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to import our plants that you have seen behind her on the original image. Alright, here it is. So we just drag and place it on our image, and then we open back our Photoshop again, and then we also scale it exactly to how we want it to appear on our image. So for this, I think it should be perfect like this. Alright, let me take it by the side a bit more. Alright, and then we hit enter, and then we also duplicate by pressing Command or Control J, and then you go to edit, transform, and then we flip horizontal the duplicated one, and then we move it to the other side of the image, as you can see. Alright, just something like this. Alright, I think this is okay, but notice we are having like some part of the plants, like the bottom part, and what I did to get rid of it is I added both the two plants and group them. I select both the two, as you can see, and press Command or Control G to group, and then I also added layer mask to them, and then I also use gradient. I'm on normal, I'm on the gradient, and my foreground is black, and then I slightly brush from the bottom to the top just to get rid of the lower part of the tree, as you can see. Alright, I think this is nice. So what I also did again to the trees is I kinda add a bit of motion blur to the plants. What I did is I opened the folder where the plants are, and then I select the first one, and then I want to filter, I go to blur, and then I added, is it blur or blur gallery? Okay, I use blur gallery, and then I use path blur. So here on the path blur, I just drag it a bit and extend it a bit more, and then I increase the speed as well. Alright, I think something around 90, 95. Alright, let's keep it on 88, and then we hit OK. Alright, after I add blurry to the 3, what I did is I kinda hide some part of the blurry and leave some. What I did is I just select the layer mask of the blurry effect here, and then I press Command or Control I to invert and hide the effect, and then I use my normal brush, as you can see, with white foreground, and then I brush over and reveal the part which I feel I want to reveal on the of the blurry on the 3, as you can see. So that is what I did exactly to the other 3, as you can see. I also select it, I go to my filter, blur gallery, and then path blur, select the direction. I also keep the speed around 88 exactly with the other one, and then I hit OK. And I also select it layer mask. I press Command or Control I and invite to hide the effect. Using my normal brush, white foreground also, I reveal the part which I want it to be visible, as you can see. As you can see, just touches off some areas, leaving some. So I think this is okay for this. So what I did next is I add some kind of motion blur to her cloth as it is flying like this. So what I did is I first select my layer above and create a merged visible layer on the top by pressing Command or Control Alt Shift E and merge the layers, and then selecting that layer. What I did is I go to filter, and then I go to blur gallery, and then I also selected path blur. So here on path blur, I kind of move this so that it create movement based on exactly how I want the motion of the blurry to appear on her clothes. So the blurry goes depending on how you place the direction of this particular blue lines. So what I did is I place it like this, and then I increase the speed, as you can see. Alright, I think this is okay. Alright, this is fine, and then I hit OK. Alright, what I did to limit the blurry just on her cloth is I just added layer mask to the layer also, and then I press Command or Control I to invert and hide the effect and hide the layer entirely, and then selecting my brush using white foreground, I just brush on the areas that I feel I want the effect to be visible, as you can see. So I think this is nice. Alright, let's leave it like this. And then the next thing that I did is I added some smoke bomb effects. Going to my overlays, I import this very first one, as you can see. So first I place it under this first tree that we're having, and then I place it first under the tree on the left hand side, and then I push it up and scale and rotate it to exactly how I want it to be visible on the image. So let's rotate it a bit, and then we drag it up. Alright, I think this is nice, and then we hit enter. And then the next thing we are going to do is we are going to duplicate the smoke bomb by pressing Command or Control G, and then we go to edit transform, and then we flip it horizontal, and then this time I will place it right above the plant on the right hand side, and then we shift it. Okay, sorry, we have to place it just above our subject layer, or just place let's just place it right above every layer we can see on our layers here, and then we just slightly adjust and keep it exactly to how we want it to appear on our image. Alright, this is nice. What I did is I also added this orange too and place it on the image. And then let's open back our Photoshop. Here I rotate it a bit, and then I just drag it down, and then I think this is okay. Then we hit enter. But something wrong here we can see the hard edges of the second of this very smoke bomb we imported on our image. So what we are going to do to hide these hard lines is we are going to add layer mask to it as well, selecting our normal brush, white black foreground, as we are going to hide, and then we slightly brush on the hard edges we can see. So this is before, and then this is after. So the next thing that I did to this image is I added color lookup by going to adjustment option here, and then I go to color lookup, load 3D LUTs, load LUTs, and then I navigate to my premium Adobe LUTs, as you can see here. So for the first, let's add the first LUTs and see. Let's do before and after. But for this particular image, what I did is I added the number 9. Let's keep the video short, and then what I did for the number 9 is I reduced the opacity of the LUT to somewhere around 30, as you can see, and then I added another color lookup table, going to my adjustment option, color lookup, load 3D LUTs. And then this time around what I did is I added, let me see which one did I add. I added the number 1. Yes, so you can stack multiple LUTs on your image until you find the your desired color grading you are looking for. So let's do before, after, before and after. So after that, what I did next is I merge all the layers by pressing Command Alt Shift E to have a solid merged visible layer at the top. Alright, here we are, and then I go to filter, and then I go to camera raw. So here in camera, what I did is I just added some noise to have this artistic effect. So what I did is I increased the noise effect here. I increased the grain and the grain size. Let me zoom and see what I'm getting on my image. So I increased the grain. So for this grain, let's keep it somewhere around 70. I think it should be fine. And then for the size of the grain, we can also keep it around 70, and then for the roughness can remain 50. So let's work with this, and then I hit OK. Alright, here we are having this kind of grain effect on our image, like this kind of noise on our image, and I really like using this effect whenever I'm trying to create something like an artistic look of an image. So something that I also did is the effect is kind of too much on the face of my model, and her hands as well. So what I did is I just added layer mask to the layer, and then I select my normal brush, and then I keep the flow of my brush to somewhere around let's keep it somewhere around 30, and reduce the intensity of the effect of the brush, selecting my normal brush with foreground black, and then we slightly brush on the face and reduce the effect of the grain on her face, and then her hands a bit. As you can see, and then we zoom out our image. So let's look at before, after, before without the grain, and then after with the grain effect. And then the last thing that I did is I kinda add some blue tones to the to my shadows, or any areas that are having like punch of blacks on the image, like somewhere around her armpit, on the tree here we can see some touches of shadows of the leaves here. So what I did is I go to my adjustment options, selective color, and then I toggle to black, and then on the yellow I just move to somewhere around negative, let's keep it somewhere around negative 30. I think it will work. Sorry, somewhere negative 30, and then selecting the layer mask, also selecting my normal brush with foreground black, and then I reduce the blues that appeared on her face. So this is just how I went about and create this image that you guys have been asking for a tutorial on my comment section on Instagram. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a thumbs up, as it makes a huge difference in supporting the channel. Let's meet in another video.